Guess I get to see it with my own eyes. Jackpot. Devil may cry.
What's going on, guys? RBG here, hitting you with another Devil May Cry video. It's been a few days since the game's release, so I think I've given the viewers plenty of time to experience the game for themselves before I started putting out spoilers uploads. Today we're going to be talking about how Dante escaped from the demon world after being stuck in it since Devil May Cry 2 and the whereabouts of Lucia. It's been something that's been questioned for years, so we're going to uncover that mystery today. But before we get into that, I gotta remind you that this video is sponsored by KookieGamer. Since you guys have supported this channel, I've linked up with KookieGamer to give you their free gaming mouse. It features a high FPS rate, 7 different switches such as the back and forward buttons, an adjustable DPI, micro switches back with LED lights, and much more. To top things off, we're also throwing in brand new super bass earbuds, which you can order in either black or white. The shipping and handling averages around $5 depending on your location. The link will be in the description box below, so make sure you jump on it while the offer lasts. But getting back on the topic at hand, one of the most asked about things has been how Dante was able to escape the demon world. Because if you remember way back in DMC 2, it was never answered on if he returned to the human world or not.
Yeah, let's go all the way to hell.
Many speculated that the motorcycle Lucia heard rumbling outside the Devil May Cry shop was in fact Dante returning, but this in itself was never really made clear. We were just left hanging on what we wanted to believe. Throughout the years, we've gotten history recaps featuring DMC 2's story where it says that Dante has fully embraced his Sparta lineage, and we got a brief recap that vaguely mentioned that particular arc, but it didn't go too in depth. So it's easy to assume that Capcom and the story writers are trying to bypass anything having to do with Devil May Cry 2, simply because it's the worst in the series and the story was pretty uneventful with a few exceptions. But I'm glad to inform you that this just isn't true, because there's a lot of stuff from part 2 that's brought up in the DMC prequel novel entitled Before the Nightmare. This particular story is told from multiple characters' perspectives and makes many references to previous games and novels, as well as shedding more background on certain scenes that are seen in Devil May Cry 5. The game already does a good job of filling in the gaps, but DMC 5 Before the Nightmare really hammers home on some of the things we've been wondering about. Bingo Morihashi went above and beyond to implement everything in the canon, and DMC 2 is no exception. Just gotta give a brief disclosure that this novel is currently exclusive to Japanese readers only, and as of today there are currently no plans to translate or localize it for other countries outside of Japan. Thankfully, Platinum, the co-administrator on the DMC 5 Info Twitter page, went out of her way to translate the novel so that we can enjoy the story. So when you get the chance, go visit the DMC 5 Twitter page and drop them some love. But anyways, let's talk about the story. It's been stated that the timeline is set shortly before the events of the DMC 5 game, so I'm guessing a month or two. Dante returns to Vita Marley to speak with Mathieu, a member and protector of the ancient Vita Marley clan who once fought alongside Sparta. Dante struggles to remember her name and asks if her name is Mattia, which she then corrects to Mathieu. This causes her to compare him to his father Sparta. She says that he would forget her and other women's names as well. Before meeting Dante's mother Eva, Sparta would travel the world, and that is how he met Mathieu. Dante doesn't have any recollections of his father, but he recalls receiving sword fighting lessons with Virgil during their childhood.
This way, Dante. Okay. Can't catch me.
At that time, he had no idea that his father was a demon and didn't know about the legend of Sparta. But anyways, Mathieu scolds Dante for not visiting the island since the incident 10 years ago. And Dante says that he couldn't because he was stuck in the demon world and it's not easy to travel between the human world and demon world. When asked how he escaped, he explained that a random hole just appeared in front of him. Sometimes holes connecting to the demon world will suddenly appear, and small cities like Vita Marley and Fortuna have higher chances of having the holes pop up. The human and demon realm were once an interconnected world due to the existence of hell gates which demons use to pass through two worlds as they wish. After a period of peace, the human world became under attack by hordes of demons led by the Prince of Darkness, Mundus. Many were killed since humans were no match, as demons boast sheer power, and demons ruled over the human world until Sparta defeated Mundus and his legions single-handedly. In order to close the gateway, Sparta used his own blood along with the blood of a human priestess in conjunction with his sword and mystical amulet. He poured his demonic energy into his beloved sword to close the door between realms, the timid grew. The novel states that when demons enter into the human world, they only project their consciousness into another physical entity. If a demon wants to enter in with his physical body, the hole has to be massive. Dante felt like it wasn't a coincidence that there was a hole large enough for him to pass through. When he went to Fortuna and saw the Hell Gate, he suddenly understood that perhaps his escape from Hell was related to Yamato. And this is something that makes perfect sense because Yamato had a very pivotal role in Devil May Cry 4. If you remember, it was used by the Order to open the true Hell Gate, and here we are yet again in DMC 5 where the story kicks off with Virgil taking Yamato back from Nero and unleashes Hell on Red Grave City. So the Yamato is a very important weapon that always seems to come back and impact the story. One thing that I'm still puzzled on is how it was brought back to the human world, because it had once been closed off in the demon world when Virgil fell through. You would think that Mundus threw the sword away somewhere after he took control of Virgil and returned to the human world. But anyways, Dante somehow managed to get through a random hole between the human and demon world. Now whether that hole had something to do with the Yamato is anyone's guess. He seems to think that was the case, so I guess we'll go with the latter. It doesn't seem like it took him that long to come back, because the novel confirms that it was in fact him who returned at the end of Devil May Cry 2. It says that Lucia waited for Dante to return from Hell and made several round trips to the office and back to see if he returned. When Dante did return, they hugged and she cried. However, Dante had to leave shortly after he received a call with the password, so I'm guessing that their reunion was pretty short-lived. Dante went back to his business killing demons for money, and Lucia went back to Vida Marley. Mathieu says that Lucia objected to calling Dante back to Vida Marley, but there aren't many young men left on the island. Dante says that he's not exactly a young man anymore. He contemplates his own lifespan in relation to Sparta's and wonders when he'll be considered an old man. He has a rule where he tries to keep his focus solely on his job. Mathieu scolds him and says it's not like she's asking Dante to marry Lucia for life, she just wants him to give her one happy memory. He says, "My bad, I have my reasons." Then Mathieu scolds him again for his subpar apology and says that Sparta had a better way with words. And Dante says that he likes to think that he's a better man than his father, causing Mathieu to jab him with her cane. She says that if that's the case, he needs to stop being rude to Lucia. Tired of getting lectured, Dante chases the subject to why Mattia asked him to come. After bantering for a while, Mattia tells Dante that the reason she requested his help is because Argosax's right-hand man, a fire demon named Balrog, has appeared on the island and had become too powerful for Lucia to handle. Dante says that he's killed things like a big monkey, possibly alluding to Arangera, but Mattia has to remind him that he killed Argosax. But Dante considers remembering the names of all the demons he's defeated a waste of his brain. However, there's one name he always remembers: Mundus, the demon who brought harm to his mother. But anyways, Dante agrees to stop the demon. As he advances to his location, he fights off monkey-looking demons. While disposing of the demons, Dante hears a heavy French accent behind him say, "As usual, your guns are wonderful." He turns his head and replies, "Long time no see, Lucia." Lucia asks him if he's aged a little, and he gives her a bitter smile, telling her that she's just imagining it. He tells her that she hasn't changed at all, and she reminds him that she can't change no matter how much time passes. As you know, Lucia, also known as Kai, is a mannequin demon created by Arius, but was raised and adopted by Mathieu. Dante tries to comfort her by telling her that women pay large amounts of money to try to look youthful, but this isn't comfort to her. He proceeds giving wise cracks to Lucia and says that compared to the horror around them, he's like something that came from heaven. This gets a faint smile from her, and she thanks him for coming while putting out her hand to him. And this is a big surprise to him because earlier Mathieu said that Lucia didn't want her to bring him to the island. Lucia says that Balrog is a bit too difficult for one person, so she would appreciate help dealing with him to finish it quicker. Dante smiles as he thinks to himself that Lucia's request is a thinly veiled quote-unquote "I can't do it on my own." But he's fine with it as she appears more confident. The two walk shoulder to shoulder to go fight Balrog. He reflects that it's been a long time since they've been together, but they walk together like old partners. There's a mutual trust between the pair. But with that, I'm going to end this video, guys. Dante and Lucia go off to fight Balrog, but I want to save that topic for another video because there's a good story behind that, and it's packed with some awesome nods from older DMC stories, so be on the lookout for that. But go ahead and share your thoughts with me in the comment section below. Do you think this is an awesome explanation on how Dante was able to return to the human world? And do you think that Lucia has gotten stronger since the last time we saw her in DMC2? As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. Any feedback is good feedback and will only help me improve on my channel. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it on social media outlets with all your friends and followers. Sharing really makes a difference. But this is your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.